It is. This is a little camera. I'm Lawrence Fries, and this is Rosemary?
Roseanne.
Roseanne, I'm sorry. And what's your last name, Roseanne?
Sanford.
Sanford. Fantastic.
The moon's out already.
Yes, it is. Would you please tell me the story of how your grandparents came to get this house? And
well, they bought it. I don't really, that part I don't know. It's what like in 1920s, or, you know, and then the war came, and my dad was in the Army Air Force.
Okay.
Down in Louisiana, and then when it was over, he and my mom took a train back up here, but there was no housing for the soldiers.
Okay.
So they moved back in here, and it was my aunt.
How are you?
Uncles.
I'm Lawrence. I'm the facilities manager here. I was asking Roseanne to tell me the story of this house a second time. A little history. So he was in the Army Air Force.
Yeah.
And after World War II, he was in Louisiana?
No, that's where he was stationed.
Okay.
But then he came back up to Akron after the war was over in 45. And then when they came home, there was no housing, so they moved in here, and I had my three uncles, let's see, there was Uncle John, Uncle Paul. 3 uncles and son L, right.
Okay, everybody in here together?
Yeah.
At the Depression, I think everybody was doing that.
You know, because there's a solarium that I think they turned into a bedroom.
Okay.
On the back part. So there were 3 bedrooms, a restroom, and then they did the solarium for another. There was a basement, and there used to be a lovely house right here.
Really?
Yeah, but they sold it to the church, and they tore it down and turned it into a parking lot.
Okay.
So they wanted when my grandmother passed away, or she might have still been alive then, they addressed my aunt to see if she was living here, if she wanted to sell the house.
Okay.
She goes, what are you going to do? Well, we'll do what we did with the other one. She said, adios, no.
Yeah, I'm glad.
We're not going to tear this house down. Because it's 100 years old.
I love old. I take pictures and videos of old buildings and old houses. I try to preserve it through pictures. So. That's
great. Because Mallory, his daughter, does pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I think just about everything in Akron's pictures have been taken of it. But I used to explore a lot about 10 years ago, just to get pictures of stuff before they tore old buildings down that were I kind of considered they were close to 100 years old.
Right.
You know, they probably should be torn down, but there's no pictures of them. There's no photographic history of them, so that's why I started grabbing my little camera.
Everybody puts it on their phones, and then it's going to get lost.
Yeah, I started making little playlists on.
I think if it's on your computer, of course, look how many times the computer has changed and it doesn't keep up with
Yeah. So I just made little playlists.
You have floppy disks, you know, everything.
Yeah.
Wireless.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you kept it. It is a beautiful house. Yep.
Big cupboards in the living kitchen.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, so my
I'm just a visitor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, did you used to plow this lot for the church?
No, that was my cousin.
Okay.
John Gerber.
Okay.
Whose mom lived here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Mom and Dad lived here.
Okay.
They had moved over. They eventually moved over to Thayer Street.
Okay, David, who's the pastor, he mentioned that to me.
Yeah, David, yeah.
Cool.
And, so, like my aunt lived here for a while with one of her sons, and then she used to be put in a nursing home. And then my cousin, the youngest cousin of us first cousins, she bought the house.
Okay.
So it's stay in the family.
Good.
So, but her daughter and her husband lived here for 7 years, and then they moved closer to where she worked. So now my mom had died, and I was living in the trailer park.
I'm freezing.
No trouble?
Oh. We can stand in the sun. Anyway, so my mom had a mobile home park, and my dad had about only 10 spots up near. It was considered Peninsula, Boston Township.
Okay.
But
I'm familiar
my
with that area.
mailing address was. Let's see. I don't know. I was on Akron Cleveland Road, which if you get on Main Street, just keep on going. You can go all the way to the Turnpike on that.
Yep.
You know?
All the way to Old 8. Yep.
Right. And so then.
I grew up before Route 8 went through there. I remember when they built it.
We moved. My husband and I moved back here. They were working on it. I said, I think they're still working on it. I've been back over 20 years. It's like never ending. So, yeah, that's. And then we moved to my mom and dad and me and my brother Joe. We lived here till I think when my brother was he was a year older than Michael. When he was born in 1950s. I think we moved on to Elma Street with he would be 5, something like that. 1955. My grandfather had a grocery store. We finally found it. We found a thing where you keep track of all your, who owes you this. It was like Uncle Sam, which was one of my grandfather's uncles.
Okay.
Owes 40 cents for bread. It was back in the early teens, and I'm going. So my brother had Mary Coyle. That's my dad had a small one up here.
Mary Coyle?
Yeah.
I used to eat there when I was a kid. My grandmother lived on Byers.
Yeah, we had my brother worked there when he started at 15. I started there when I was a junior in high school. But my dad, down at the end of the street, there's a typewriter store. That was Uncle Joe's.
Okay.
My dad was the Mary Coyle family allowed him to change the name to that, and there was an Uncle Bill's or something in Tiger Falls. So there were like 5 Mary Coyle.
Okay.
You go to the one that was
in Highland Square.
Yeah, that's the ones that. Yeah, my brother just sold it.
Back in the I read the article. Okay, back in the late 70s and early 80s, my
Right.
grandmother lived on Byers, and I used to go there, get ice cream and.
Yeah, so we have new people that they bought it from my brother. Some guy who was drinking hit Michael 2 times in the back with. Michael was in the car, and so he's got some short-term memory concussion stuff, so he couldn't. He's not.
Okay.
Working there anymore. He's going to be 75 in July, but I think he's trying to be like me. We're still stay young and keep working.
Cool.
Yeah, and my grandfather had a store, and I always thought it was down there next to. I just found out when we were going through that little booklet. I said that my grandfather had all the names, and most of them were relatives. Like I said, 23 cents for bread. And so Michael was when I gave it to him. So one day we were coming back from on the west side, and I said, we turned off of the road. Did you come up out of Memorial Parkway?
Okay.
We turned on Carpenter Street. He said, we're going to find Grandpa's store. He said, you got the address. Well, no store, just a nice plot of grass.
Yeah.
It was gone. But I said, well, I never really knew where it was.
Okay. Cool.
And stuff. And see, my grandmother, she was she had 3 brothers. And so, each one of them had a little store.
Very cool. Very cool.
Stuff. So,
excellent.
That's. And we still have relations with people, our cousins that live in Italy, Bari and Puglia, Conversano. In fact, my one brother was over there for a week not too long ago.
Oh, very cool.
And some of them have come over here and visit occasionally. We know enough. A little bit of Spanish, Italian, and enough of English. They probably know more English than we know.
Okay.
And I know they came over here a couple years ago for a visit. It was
excellent.
Nice. And then my couple of brothers and Michael and my sister and my other couple of brothers have gone over there multiple times. I'm not big on flying, especially with the way things are now.
Yeah.
I said, I can watch the Pope on TV. I probably have a better view. Because I asked this gentleman at St. Anthony's, he's like a deacon, and his son works for, or his son works or daughter works for a UN company, and where he's working is in Rome.
Okay.
So when he came back, and so his dad and mom go visit him occasionally. So I saw him. He just got back right after Easter, and I said, "So, did you get to see the Pope?" He goes, "You mean that little tiny dot up there on the balcony?" I said, "See, I told you could see it better on television." So, yeah, it was when we moved, or when I was born, everything was Italian.
Okay, yeah.
I probably told you that. Now it's a little bit of everything.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
gentleman in the house was.
Yeah, they used to be all Italian, all Irish, and.
Yeah. Now, the gentleman in the White House across, him and his wife are from Egypt.
Okay.
Because I've always wanted to see the pyramids since they used to live like 10 minutes away from them. I said, well, and I'm going to go into like that house the night vision, I think. I was going to the birthday party there when I was
Okay.
a green one. They drive down here, it's really scary because there's so many kids.
Yeah. I don't think. I don't think.
But little by little, I've been here 5 years now. And so, like this family here, the group's like, you know how kids are, they'll tell you everything. So, the one little boy, I don't remember his name, he's probably 12 or 13. He goes, "My dad and uncle are buying that house." I said, "They are?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "We're going to move over there." And I guess they live down the street. And I thought, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't ask him anything. He just volunteered the information, which, whatever, I'm not going to do anything with it. But I just love seeing all their different colors. And I said, "Can I be Muslim for one day and just wear all those nice sparkly stuff?" But it was really hard when I first moved here. These two little ones. They like to ride their bike in the street. It's like, all of us, Muhammad, we all like, okay, guys, out of the street.
I'm glad you watch out for them.
Because I know when I I was here. I've been here 5 years, and the gentleman that lives on the other side of me, he loves to do fireworks.
Okay.
So he sets them off here, very safe, has everybody far away, and there was a group that I had talked to that they were, I didn't know what they were. They were Afghans, as the middle one is too.
Okay.
And I said, "So how long have you been in the United States?" "Oh, they'd only been here so many months." And I said, "Oh, so where were you before?" I didn't know, what nationality. They were in a refugee camp in Afghanistan for like 4 years, living in tents. And I went, "Good Lord." And so then, now they're there.
Cool.
And so Steve shot off some fireworks, and the one little boy, he came across the street and he goes, "Thank you for letting us watch your fireworks." I mean, like, okay, it's in the sky, anybody can see it.
Yeah.
And sometimes he wasn't thrilled with all the people. I said, "Well, my relatives were all originally just coming over from the old country."
Sure.
And so,
all of our relatives were.
Yeah. And so
trace it back far enough.
His son said, "Dad, did you hear whatever his name is? Let's say Jen." He says, "No, what did he say?" And he goes, "Come back over here. Just tell him what you just told me." He says, "Thank you for letting me watch the fireworks." And, "Oh, well, you better get your sister out here. Get some more chairs." And like suddenly, I mean, his whole attitude changed. Just
cool.
That one,
Yeah.
And those kids, they are so cute. One time the one came up and goes, "Do you know what we call you?" I said, "I don't know if I want to know or not." He goes, "We call you Granny."
Okay, that's not too bad.
And then, yeah. So like when I came in the next few times to the party, I'm like, "Hi, Granny."
Okay.
Hi. And I have a lot of flowers. I'll have zinnias, and these are my grandmother's rose bush.
Oh wow. Okay.
And these were my cousins farm for my aunt, and they come up. They're the ones that have like a whole bunch of little ones in one clump.
Okay.
And and then that one that's getting taller, that's one from my grandmother. It's from her. And then we have grapes on the back. You want to take a picture?
Yeah.
They're not grapes yet. They're coming
I've
along.
seen the vines along your fence back there.
Now my cousin Ann, who owns the house, she will come and Muhammad's wife comes and takes some. They make grape leaves and wrap them up.
Okay.
So that is.
Okay. Yeah, I see these from the back there. Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if that's too bright or.
I've seen them from the back. Yeah.
Beautiful.
This stuff I planted, and this is a fire pit, which I don't like doing fire, so I throw zinnia seeds in there. And just a little bit ago, when I was walking around, I saw some of my zinnias, little leaves coming up on the side. So the kids, like one day I was out there trimming, and the one girl said, "Can I have a rose for my mother?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Well, let me go in and get some paper towel and some scissors." I said, "Because they have thorns, and I don't want your mother coming over here. Where'd you get my child?" And stuff. So I come back out, and there's like a line of 7 or 8 children going in. And so I cut them and gave them to her. And then the one girl came up to me and she goes, "Don't give him any more. He didn't take it to his mother." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Are you sure maybe he just was?" "No." He said, he lied. And I'm going, "Okay, I don't want to get neighborhood trauma here." Now see, like this is stuff that I planted and my cousin brought over.
Okay.
These are.
They're beautiful.
There'll be irises. And
Okay.
then I don't know what's this one that's called, but these have purple leaves and flowers when they. These but I don't know what they are.
Okay.
But these are the. Yeah, these have to be trimmed out or something. See, they're just starting to get the leaves.
Very
And
cool.
the leaves they're bigger than my hand.
Okay.
It's amazing. So, because I know Muhammad.
I'll know what to look for now.
Yeah, I mean, if you know how to do it. And she rolls them, like, I'm sure if you ever
Grape
eat like
leaves,
the
yeah.
Aladdin's and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. So she brought me a plate of them. I don't know all what was in it, but it was fabulous. See, and they've added
Have some
on
rice
the
and
back
some
of
lamb?
That white, the 2 windows there, that's new. They added that.
Oh, okay.
And it's,
A dormer, kind of.
I guess, yeah. There's a little room
Cool. Nice.
and stuff, so.
Thank you for taking your time out.
Oh, that's
This is wonderful.
okay.
Thank you. This is a nice little slice of history.
We went to St. Martha's. Well, now it's not St. Martha's. Anyway, they were giving a talk on the shroud, Turin
Okay.
shroud. So that was really interesting.
Nice, nice.
So in this house here, there's just a small. Okay, it's blue, even though it doesn't look like blue, but it is blue.
It looks bluish.
And my husband is buried in Oakwood Cemetery, and so when I was moving here, I called the lady at the cemetery at Oakwood is very nice, but I mean, well, they didn't really know. I mean, we did everything, and then we have a bench, and so I left a message on her machine that I was moving from Akron Cleveland Road to here. So she called me back a couple days later, and she said, "You didn't have to do that. We already knew you moved." I went, "Oh," I said, "These days, everybody knows everything." I said, "Okay." She says, "But I have a question for you." She said, "You live at 922? I said, "Yeah, that was my grandparents' house." She said, "Is there a blue house next door to you?" And I said, "Yeah." "Is it Steve and Kim?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "I grew up in that house."
It's a small world.
And she knew my cousins.
Oh my gosh.
Going, yeah. So, and like, Steve put the fence up. There was one of so I put morning glory seeds and they grew up. Last year I didn't have to plant them. They came up on their own.
Okay.
And 4 o'clock's come up here on their own. My cousin said my grandmother planted them many years ago. And I said, "Well, I didn't do anything to them. Pretty soon they bloom at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So, I think we had a whole group of people here yesterday, or the other day. Was it Saturday? Was that Earth Day? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. We were just cleaning up the property.
Yeah.
Got some volunteers to help pick up the leaves,
I was
make it
gonna-
look better.
You see where the red on that pole is?
Yeah.
My brother John is friends with the councilman here, Mr. Colombo,
Okay.
and there was an article in the paper a while back that he was going around and putting pink things on to get the city to fix the lights that didn't work.
Okay.
So the kids took the pink ribbon, to play. I come up there, just a pink ribbon, and so I told him he put another. I said, "You need to put it up higher so they can't reach it." And then it was on, and then I don't know. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed. I said, "Is there a hole in there like somebody shot it or threw a rock at it?" I thought I haven't had a chance to talk to my brother yet. So if you get my other brother, see if he, will they come back out and do it? So I mean, if you know anybody that's on it, see that's on that's city property.
Okay.
If it's on your own property, then you have to pay for it yourself. But so.
All right.
So do you live on North Hill now, or you don't?
I live in Akron on Carroll Street right now.
Oh, by Brookville and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Avenue.
Yeah, I live in a townhome right now.
My brother ran Picasso's that used to be
Okay,
down.
yeah.
Down there too.
Yeah, I'm the custodian at the First Congregational Church in Hudson, and I'm the
okay.
assistant facilities manager here.
Well, keep you busy.
So yeah, I like this place. I like being around it.
Yeah, we have had very little trouble here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a nice place. I really enjoy being here.
Everybody, the kids, I think they think the entire street is their yard.
Yeah,
They go up and down, and the one, was it last week? I got somebody's mail. I think it was like 3 houses up, so I thought, I'm not going to write it. I'll just walk up there and give it to them.
Sure.
Well, the little one there in the pink back there, little naughty child there, 3-year-old, I get up and she's almost all the way to where the drugstore used to be, and I said, what are you doing all the way there? She goes, Mommy, and I said, no, I'm not your mother. I said, and I thought, where is everybody? You know, here she is, 3, and you know, I said, anybody can come by and scoop her up.
They're lucky they got people like you watching out.
Well, there was a couple that were, it was a black couple, and the lady, she said, is that your child? I said, no, it's not. I know where she lives, though, because she lives in that duplex there. And so the lady got out and went and knocked on the door.
Oh, okay.
And said, is this your daughter?
Okay.
I said, I live across the street. So I said, I don't know who she thought I was. I wasn't going to try to snatch her up. But
yeah.
It's just...
it's a different world.
And, yeah. And you just got to be careful with these kids. I just worry. I'll tell you what, the first year I was here, I don't know if it was that house or a couple of houses down, I was walking, and there were 2 guys in a pickup truck driving very slowly.
That's
multiple
creepy.
times, and they were watching these 2 young girls that were on the porch,
okay.
and I just kind of stood there for a long time. They finally left. I never saw them again, but I thought, I just knew in my bones something wasn't right.
Good looking out.
I didn't want to get shot, but
Right.
it was the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But still, I thought, what are these guys? They were definitely looking at me. They looked like they were middle grade, like 8th or 4th or 5th or something.
Okay.
And they don't live here anymore, so. But yeah, so it's.
All right. Well, I'm going to go home and grab some dinner. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Little piece of
Lawrence
history.
of Akron.
That's me. Thanks, Roseanne.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yep.